This is chapter 2 from Transform Your Life, and this deals with affirmations and how to use them. Affirmations are a powerful tool in one's life and spiritual journey. While the idea to some was that they were strange, they are now commonplace and found in many places. Athletes use them. You can find school children using them in the classroom. You can find them in corporate America. You can find them in many, many different places. And she states that an affirmation is a positive statement of truth. To affirm is to make firm in your mind. It is stating something to be true, regardless of all evidence to the contrary. As with all the things in our teaching, the main point is to deal with your subconscious mind. This is where the action takes place. We don't set out to make things happen, but to make them welcome. And the place where we do that ultimately ends up in our subconscious. As Reverend Ike says, the more you work your mind, the less you have to work your behind. She says the purpose of affirmation is to impress the subconscious mind, for what is impressed is expressed. This is done by repetition, feeling, and imaging. It's important to remember that feelings are telling you the meaning that you give a thing. So it's not just simply repeating things in a rote manner, but actually putting some feeling behind them, imaging those things, seeing them in your mind's eye, and understanding that they will and do come to pass. Also remember that to repeat the affirmation over and over as often as possible, because we're doing that and saying the affirmation with conviction and authority, believing every word you say and seeing it take form. And then that's where gratitude comes in, by saying thank you, repeating it till it becomes a part of you, but to always give thanks. As a matter of fact, she says to give thanks before using the affirmation to prepare your subconscious. And then once you have completed your affirmation, she suggests to say, thank you, God, for answered prayer. If you are using an affirmation over and over and find that it is not working, perhaps your failure to bring about results comes from the fact that you have not done the necessary work to prepare a proper mental planting field for the affirmation. She uses the parable of reaping and sowing of seeds found in Matthew chapter 13, verses 3 through 8, and applies it to the use of affirmations. Seeds on the path. The first description applies to the case of using a healing treatment without results, and the idea that the affirmation is sown on the edges of your consciousness and not deep in the depths of your subconscious where it could take root. The way to tell if this is so is to examine whether you find yourself thinking of other unrelated matters while you are giving the healing treatment. Seeds on rocky ground. Rocky mental ground might consist of worry, fear, or doubt about the outcome of what you are treating. When she talks about the affirmation that falls on rocky ground, she uses the story of the disciples in the boat, despairing that they only have one loaf of bread, but yet they have Jesus with them and have already witnessed the things that he has done and is capable of doing. And it's really saying that we worry even though we are the embodiment of God and the expression of God, and we have available to us at all times the full power of God. Seeds among thorns. Mental thorns that come about and choke off your affirmation. Those seeds are negative thoughts. They're things like resentment, bitterness, jealousy, malice, hatred, all the twisted, loveless feelings that eat at one's insides and destroy the person who holds them. Those mental thorns come, choke off your affirmation. And the thing of it is to realize is that they were there all along. And so it's necessary to do the work to root them out. And as we talked about last time, to look at those thoughts, those negative thoughts that we might have, and use and take the opportunity to list them on one side, and then on the other side, list a positive or affirmation about those things. To not become a breeding ground for mental thorns, but affirming instead that I want the highest good and that of everyone I encounter. And then there is seed, the seeds that fall on good soil. The seeds that fall on good soil will manifest and have lasting results. The parable didn't say that seeds sown in unfavorable places did not grow, except for the seeds that the birds ate, but the others grew. But it's really about a matter of lasting results. And it's important to realize where she says, only you know where you are in consciousness. Remember always, as I say, as my teacher says, you can't outperform your consciousness. And in making the affirmations work and making them effective in your life to bring about lasting results is to give thanks wherever you are and go from there. So even if you don't see it manifesting yet, if you give thanks now where you are and go from there and hold the space and hold the expectation that it will manifest and come to fruition.